What's up, A to Z Sports Live on a Wednesday. Going to have an interesting show, and we might have to pull some receipts when it comes to our own Buck Rising and what he said yesterday on the radio that was absolutely hilarious and entertaining at the same time, but also maddening at the same time.
Not how I would describe it, but yeah.
I will let you describe it after we get to watch it because we're going to have a conversation about NWI, Nick Westbrook-Ikhine, the man that only catches first downs and touchdowns except for 2 times on his on the season, and what he has earned, what he deserves, what the Titans should do about it, and how do we feel about NWI, a guy who is a lot of times just regularly been dismissed by a lot of people watching the show, by me, Easton. I don't know your track record with NWI takes, but we'll dive into it as well. And by a lot of people that cover the Titans, NWI is still around and making plays, more plays than most people on this team that is 2-8. So we'll discuss that. What does NWI deserve after this season? We'll find out if we can come to a common ground on that. And then we're going to have a little conversation about the college football playoff rankings because there is there are some things to discuss. There are more things to discuss in the world of college football than there are with the Tennessee Titans on a Wednesday morning. And then, Easton, you'll be at the facility later on today, and you'll hear from players and coaches, and then we'll talk more Titans the rest of the week. But a busy NWI talk. We've also got Wednesday trivia. So we'll see how Easton and I can do after going 9 for 9 last week. We'll see if we can go back-to-back weeks. Easton, what's up? Welcome in. Let's get it rolling.
What's up? Well, good morning, everybody. To you, to the folks in the chat. Hope everybody's having a good Wednesday, making it through the week here. Help us out on this Wednesday morning by hitting that like button on Facebook, on YouTube. Like the show. If you can do that for us this morning right now, I'll give you a moment. Thank you for clicking like. That is the easiest way that you can help us spread the show this morning. And then hop into the comments on Facebook, on YouTube, like MOJ, Richard, J, Steve, Jonathan, American Toff, Corey. Seeing a lot of folks this morning. Andre, some regulars, some new folks. Good to see all of your lovely profile picture faces. Join them in the chat this morning. We want to hear your thoughts on perhaps the most popular Tennessee Titan right now in terms of, listen, if they were running political campaigns, the NWI approval rating would be at an all-time high right now. I mean, the guy just killing it in the polls, this guy.
Yes. All right. So let's get it going officially here, Easton. Welcome into A to Z Sports, powered as always by the BetMGM app. I'm Austin Stanley. He's Easton Freeze, one of our Titans reporters for A to Z Sports.com. And we are Nashville's on-demand sports network, going live weekday mornings at 8 Central Time on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Links to the show segment by segment on our Twitter X timeline. Also hit us up on Instagram, TikTok, and Threads for more great Titans content. You got to thank our sponsors. They make it happen for us, and they help out all of you, like Wilson County Hyundai. Make them a part of your new car buying process. Go see them in Lebanon or online at wilsoncountyhyundai.com. The Bone and Joint Institute, boneandjointtn.org, the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care. Farm Bureau Health Plans. Get better with Farm Bureau Health Plans. FBHP.com/ATOZ for a quote on your health coverage. And TDOT, join the solution to end littering across Tennessee by visiting TDOT's campaign at NobodyTrashesTennessee.com. So, Easton, Nick Westbrook-Ikhine is on a 1-year deal for about $2 million. He's second back-to-back 1-year deal with the Titans after being a UDFA, undrafted free agent, several years ago, and has continued to stick with his team. He has continued to outlast all of the times that he was predicted to get cut. He has made the team every year. He has consistently seen his role grow. A lot of people, including myself and probably many watching the show, wrote off NWI as a legitimate receiving threat throughout his first 5 years or so of his Titans career. What is your honest track record been on how you have judged Nick Westbrook-Ikhine as a member of the Titans receiving corps over the last handful of seasons?
Yeah, I mean, I really didn't have a strong take on him until, when was it? Was it 2021, the first year that he was kind of by injury thrust into the lineup, like as a wide receiver 2, wide receiver 1 on some weeks? I think that was 2021, right?
There was a year when we've been talking about Joe Rexrow this morning because of one of his college football.
Right, the Rexrow wide receiver 2 years, what I'm talking about. That's the one I'm talking about. I think that's 21.
Yeah, it could have been 21. I think it would have been pre Julio, if that.
Yes, and Julio was 22.
Julio was 21.
Was he? Oh, okay. Well,
Yes.
then
And so
2020, I suppose.
I'm trying to remember because I actually got Joe Rexrode a button. Like
I've
how
seen the pictures. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
mom and dads wear their kids on their buttons when
Adorable.
they go to games. I got Joe Rexrode a button that has NWI wide receiver 2, and I'm trying to remember because there's a picture of Rexrode wearing that. There was the construction going on with the facility,
Right.
and there were no masks. So I'm trying to place when the hell that was. and maybe it was 2021 then. That makes sense.
I think it was like 2020
Pre-Julio
would have been a
trade,
mess.
like in May of 2021.
Sure. Yeah.
So
whatever year it was, we all
yeah.
know what we're talking about. Whatever year it was. My point is, I didn't really have a take on him when he was like the UDFA in the background guy. But once he was thrust into the lineup, my take was, honestly, has always been, the guy's better than people think because he's having to play out of position consistently. And for like 2.5, 3 years, he was having to play wide receiver 2 or 3 on most weekends. And there were a stretch of games where he was basically your wide receiver 1. And it was a nightmare. And it made him look bad. It made the quarterback look bad. And they were in a bad situation. And it was bad. And so my honest take has just always been that he's like a serviceable wide receiver 3 when you need him to be. And he's a downright good wide receiver 4, rotational wide receiver. And it would be awfully nice if he could ever be in that position. And it feels like this is really the first year in which he was in that position. And then naturally every year he starts there. And then by midseason, he's wide receiver 2 again somehow. So yeah, I would say I still was slightly wrong. Not as wrong as people who dismissed him, because I was genuinely never dismissive of him. But he is better this year to me than my take used to be definitively not a starter. You don't want this guy in your top 3. And I think that he is proving to be better than that, at least a little bit.
Yeah. And I think I think our takes have been somewhat similar. Like, I think I was probably more strongly, can you please draft over NWI? Like, I think that was probably my whole thing was, it's an indictment on your overall draft process and your evaluation process that you cannot find somebody better to replace him as the wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3, wide receiver 4. Like, how do you keep failing to replace him? And he gets
or just actively choosing to be like, we're good.
Yeah, that too. Like, like Des Fitzpatrick in the 4th round. Yeah, we're good.
We got NWI. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. And so so I was that way, but it wasn't personal against NWI, because I feel like I've always said, yeah, he's a solid 4. Can he be a 3? A little bit. But don't make him a 2. And here we are, NWI, wide receiver 2, scoring touchdowns. Is it 5 touchdowns in the last 6 games?
It is
5 touchdowns.
One touchdown a game, except for whatever last game
Chargers
was.
game.
Yeah, except for the Chargers game.
The one that Calvin Ridley had 2 touchdown catches.
That's right.
So it's pretty wild that NWI has been able to do this. And so the other aspect of this is that was under Mike Vrabel. Like, NWI is the prototypical Mike Vrabel guy, right? It's the hard-nosed, going to do everything to help the team, not going to cause problems, doesn't get hurt. He's the whole callus, not a blister. He catches the football. He doesn't make stupid mistakes, and he's going to go about his business. And that's the guy that Mike Vrabel wants around his team, right? So now you have a new coaching staff come in, and NWI has 0 targets in the first 4 games of the season. Traylon Burks is getting those reps. Even when with DeAndre Hopkins coming back from a knee injury. I remember going back in the preseason. I think it was preseason week 2 after D-Hop's MCL injury happened. Correct. And remember the whole, we're going to rest the starters, and Traylon Burks was in street clothes and NWI was out there taking hits across the middle on a slant.
Late in the third quarter, down. Getting killed.
Yes. And we're like going, what is Traylon Burks doing?
Yeah.
Like, Traylon Burks deserves the one to take this punishment, not Nick Westbrook-Ikhine, who has earned better than this. So this coaching staff was doing the same thing that we had all done for Nick Westbrook-Ikhine for the majority of his first several years. And now they flipped on it. And now NWI is a guy who needs to stick around. So this leads us to yesterday's Buck Rising show on 104.5 The Zone, where Buck started by saying the Titans wronged NWI by dismissing him and flat out disrespecting him, and he deserves a new contract.
Good take.
And I think everybody can agree with that.
Yep.
Nick Westbrook-Ikhine deserves a new contract.
And then he stopped after that, right?
No, he did not stop. He kept going because there's a stat out there that is Nick Westbrook-Ikhine with 5 touchdowns has more touchdowns than all of these wide receivers that have been to Pro Bowls, do commercials, have make a bunch of money and all this kind of stuff.
Everybody you've heard of.
Everybody you've heard of. And so this clip that we have, because somebody's like, we need the clip. Oh, we got the clip. And it's not just the whole segment was an entertaining train wreck. And I loved it because that's good radio, in my opinion.
It's the stupidest thing I've heard on Nashville radio outside of the Jared Stillman show.
Okay. Here is Buck Rising listing off all the wide receivers that NWI has more touchdown catches than this year. And then it just completely devolves afterwards.
CeeDee Lamb, Tyreek Hill, A.J. Brown, Cooper Kupp, Devontae Smith, DK Metcalf, Zay Flowers, DJ Moore, George Pickens, Calvin Ridley, Amari Cooper, Michael Pittman, Devontae Adams.
You said you take NWI over half of those? That is a little insane.
Probably half.
I think that's a little.
I'd take him over Calvin.
That's a bit of an exaggeration.
I would take on a consistent. No, I don't think it's an exaggeration at all. Does he miss games?
No.
Does he produce?
Not to the level of the majority of those players, but
he is right now. He's doing better than the majority of those players. He's doing better than all of those players that I've just listed.
The touchdown stat, yes. But don't sit here, look me in the eye, and tell me that Nick Westbrook-Ikhine.
I'll pick the wide receivers out of this list that I'd take him over. I would take him over Zay Flowers right now.
Oh, wow. Come on.
I would take him over DJ Moore right now.
Okay.
I would take him over George Pickens, Calvin Ridley, Michael Pittman, and Devontae Adams.
All right, now you're just being insane.
I don't think so at all.
Now you're just being insane.
Why not?
NWI.
What is insane about
They've
that?
got to bring back NWI. They do. But
what is insane about that? Instead of just saying that's insane, tell me exactly why it's insane. Based on the production that those players have put together this year, why would I not take them over?
You found one touchdown stat, man.
I'm not doing just touchdowns.
Yes,
Does Devontae Adams separate the way that he used to?
No, if you want to bring in the age factor.
Does Michael Pittman have a drops problem?
Sure.
Does Calvin Ridley have a consistency problem just because he's put together 3 weeks of good football? Dating back to his career.
These are
I'm not giving you just touchdowns. You're trying to make this. No, I'm not at all.
So like Lucas Benzica's reaction through all of that. And look,
Thank God for Lucas.
That was
Lucas.
94 seconds of what was a 20-minute segment where Buck and like Easton, you and I talked about this on the phone afterwards because I was listening in real time. Like I was making lunch, I ate lunch, I did my dishes, and I had work to do. I was like, I have to finish Buck's show.
I just saw you tweet about it. I did not hear it live.
I was howling, laughing the entire time. And so Easton and I talked on the phone afterwards, and we came up with the perfect description. Easton, we all agree that fast food is bad for us, right? As humans, fast food is not healthy. And that's basically how Buck started. Fast food is not healthy. But instead of just saying fast food is not healthy and us all saying, yes, we should probably all eat less fast food, Buck basically said, let's blow up with bombs all the fast food restaurants.
So we're going to firebomb every fast food establishment in America. It's like, whoa, dude. Hang on.
Relax. Man. We just need to eat less of it.
What are you talking about?
Destroy all of the businesses in the job. Like, dude, chill out now. But that's basically what Buck did, was that fast food's bad for us. Okay, I'll fix it. I'll blow them all up with bombs. That is the take equivalency of how quickly that bleep rolled downhill for Buck. And I think
it's like somebody gave him the most agreeable thing to present. It's like he was given a can't miss presentation on a take that we all agree with. And his private task was present this in a way that makes it impossible for anyone to agree with you. And he's like, got it. I'm all over
it. Hilarious for me. Hilarious.
You're on the radio screaming, I don't watch anything but the Titans. It's craziness.
So I did craziness. And Buck does watch games more than the Titans. Buck has
clearly not if he thinks all those players are.
Chill out for a second. Let me just play Switzerland here because Buck is an A to Z sports employee just like you are, and I am the employer here. So Buck does watch
if you say something dumb like that.
Look. And because he walked it back, he admitted. Yes, I'm telling you, he did. I've told you this 4 times.
No one has heard this. I don't think it exists.
Yes, he did.
I've heard nobody. I don't think the audio exists.
on the air, he said, "Yep, I got a little out of hand. I got a little
proof.
crazy on it."
Find me the clip.
It's on the radio
I don't
where he
believe you.
said it, Easton, at
I
like
don't believe you.
12:50 p.m. Central Time. He did say he got a little out of hand and it went a little bit too fast and he got
A little
caught.
bit.
Okay, like chill, like yes. So
No, he deserves all the heat for this. I will not chill.
No, I'm not saying he doesn't deserve heat for it. I'm just saying he did admit on the air like 5 minutes after the fact that that was a little bit much. But it was hilarious to me because it was pure entertainment because Lucas's reaction was everybody, right? And so it's what makes good radio is when the audience can relate with at least one of the people. At least one of the people.
And hate the other person.
Yes. And that's what it made it so funny and so good because everybody knows how ridiculous that take was. And Buck was making a good take. He was making a good take until he didn't. So the overall point is we can all trust Nick Westbrook-Ikhine to go play football for this organization and to not mess things up. And now he's making plays. So let's move forward from that. So we can actually have a productive conversation.
I'm reading the comments. Again,
if you want to read some comments,
God bless Lucas for. My favorite part of it is Lucas in real time realizing how outrageous because Buck's saying the thing, and then Lucas is like, "That's kind of wild. That's a little bit crazy." No, actually, that's the craziest thing I've ever heard. What are you talking about? Yeah, man, there are plenty of comments we don't need to read trying to stir up drama. There's no drama. There's no beef here. It's just a crazy thing to say. And I'm calling out a crazy thing to say because it was a crazy thing. It's not only like you say you got a little out of hand. No, it was as out of hand as humanly possible because every single receiver he mentioned, he's wrong about.
Yes. And we know that. Like, it's not like it's hard to understand. We know that.
Apparently it was for him.
No, okay. It got out of hand. Whether you say, tongue in cheek, it got a little out of hand. Like that's kind of like being funny about it and lighthearted about it. Yeah, I got a little crazy on that one, right? Like we also, I drank a little too much last night. No, you drank a lot too much last night, but you say you drank a little too much last night. It's the same thing, Easton. You know what
Landon can't wait for dumbest thing in sports on Buck's show later when everybody says it's what Buck said.
Is that what today is?
I don't know, but when it happens, that's what it'll be, I'm sure.
Yes. So anyway, and so like Bobby says, not this season. He ain't wrong. No, he is wrong because
crazy.
Touchdowns are one stat. Touchdowns are an important stat, but they're not all the stats, and they're not all everything that wide receivers should be judged by. And I do think that Nick Westbrook-Ikhine has earned trust and deserves apologies of disrespect from people in the fan base, people in the media over the years,
and true.
Coaching staff. Right. So now let's find out how we all feel about NWI.
Okay.
Ask this question, and we're trying to get specific answers here. What level of a wide receiver is Nick Westbrook-Ikhine in the NFL? Is he top 50? Is he a starter? Is he a wide receiver number next to his name? What level of wide receiver is NWI? I mean, Pro Bowl is a qualifier for this. That could be an option. I don't agree with it, but level of wide receiver is that's just the type of answers we want. We don't know vocab words today on this one. We just want what level of wide receiver is NWI in the NFL right now. So I hope we can all play this game and understand the assignment here. So we'll get to all of your opinions and our opinions as well. But first, let me tell you guys about the Bone and Joint Institute, boneandjointtn.org, the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care. Whenever you get hurt in life, you got to turn to the Bone and Joint Institute, who you can trust, just like NWI on third down, to make sure that you get back to health and not let that injury linger on throughout your life and keep you on the sideline. They've got all the experts and the resources there in Franklin, right off of I-65 and Highway 96, next to Williamson Medical Center. So go check them out online to book an appointment. Super easy to use. boneandjointtn.org.
We're also brought to you by BetMGM, the sports book born in Vegas. you can get up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if you use our code ATOZ Sports when you sign up over on the BetMGM app. So whether you're cheering on the Titans at the stadium or watching the game at your favorite Music City sports bar, you're always going to be able to get in on the action with that app right in the palm of your hand. Nothing better than a Titans win, except perhaps the thrill of winning at BetMGM. Enjoy the best parlay selection options, boosted odds specials, daily promotions, so much more. Download the BetMGM app today. Use our bonus code ATOZ Sports when you sign up and experience the football season like never before. BetMGM, an official partner of the Tennessee Titans.
All right. So what level wide receiver is Nick Westbrook-Ikhine in the NFL? What level wide receiver? You guys can come up with however you want to call him. I see a top 50. I see, is he a wide receiver 2, 3, 4, 5, 1? What is he? So Easton, let's send you to the chat and see what everybody's got to say about how you label NWI in the NFL as a wideout.
Yeah, MB says he's a number 4, as does Clayton. Andre says wide receiver 3 or 4. Solid 3, according to Steven. Top 20 in the league, according to Eric. All right, wide receiver 3 and 3, according to Steve and Duran. High-end wide receiver 3, according to Titans Kyle. Wide receiver 3, wide receiver 3, 4. A number 2, according to Greg Stinson. Wide receiver 1, he is so consistent, says Ryan. Wide receiver 50 in the league, so top 50, barely, according to Joshua. Let's see, Mr. Reliable wide receiver 2, number 3, or a slot player. Chris Carter 2.0. Just looking for some interesting ones. A top 100 wide receiver, more conservative from Nick Ewing. The best number 3 in the entire NFL. So we're kind of all over the board here, Austin. Largely, people are saying 3s and 4s. I do think it's important for us to define, because there are 2 different ways people talk about wide receiver numbers, right? There is the positional numbers, like your 1 is your X, your boundary receiver. Your 2 is your Y flanker. Your 3 is your slot. We're talking statistical production, right? Amon-Ra St. Brown is wide receiver 1 in Detroit because he catches the most balls and gets the most points.
Is the number one option in the offense.
But
right?
he is the number 3 schematically. So we're talking about the number of option the guy is, not where he's playing. That's an important.
Yeah, not how he lines up when you pull up Madden and he's like third on the depth chart, which means he's automatically the slot guy. Right.
So, yeah. Do you want to go first, Austin, or you want me to go first?
Yeah, I would. I mean, you can go.
Okay.
I'm cool with you going.
It's not I don't have a super exciting answer. I'm basically where I've always been on him. I'd say I'm slightly higher than I was. I used to think you definitely don't want this guy being in your starting lineup. You don't want to be a top 3 receiver on your team. But
you don't want him to be a top 3.
That's where I used to be up until this season. My take was it's not ideal if he is in your top 3, but he is a really nice 4 to have, and he's definitely valuable as your 4 rotational guy, situational guy. My opinion has changed just slightly to be, I really don't mind if he's your 3rd option at all. I think that he is a certainly average, right now the way he's playing, certainly an above average number 3 option on a team, ideally. Now, that's on paper. Like in the real world, again, this is what, the 4th, 5th consecutive year in which somehow NWI has turned into the number 2 option at some point in the year. And I'd imagine this year he's probably going to be that the rest of the season. So he can do it in a pinch, but ideally, what do you want? I think ideally you want him to be your 3rd option. And when he is, you're quite happy with that. I think if you went team by team and we did the experiment of, okay, plug in NWI to this roster, where would you want him? Where would you want him here? I think we would average out to have him as the 3rd option on most teams, and I think most teams would be pleased by that. So that's where I'm at. I do think the reason I bring up the alignment thing is that I think the type of receiver he is makes it kind of tricky for teams because he can play all 3 positions. Like he can play X, Y, and Z. He totally can. His body type, his play style, he's not a separator. He doesn't have the greatest speed in the world. He's got good hands. He's good at the catch point, but he's not
strong.
Elite. He's strong. Yeah, he's a fantastic blocker as well. So the intangible things, the dirty work, that's a big reason why teams
physical, play strength, all that stuff.
100%. But he doesn't have an elite trait as a receiver. He's just like if you're playing like Super Smash Bros. Mario game, it's like he's the Mario all around guy. He's not a specialist. He's just got good numbers at every element of the position. And as some people, Zach in the comments saying he clearly doesn't need that stuff. To be an effective receiver, you don't have to be elite at anything. 100%. You're all over it, Zach.
Hines Ward.
Yeah, 100%. Like
you can name so many guys that are not like it because the receiver position is such a nuanced learned skill. Like
yes.
DeAndre Hopkins last year at age, 31, 32?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can say his hands are
I better
elite,
say he's elite hand. Best hands.
right? Elite hands, but like not elite speed, not elite quickness,
Everything
not elite
else is
strength, not
average
elite
or below
size,
average. Yep.
and his hands are just that damn good, but the skill in which he is acquired is also that damn good.
Well, and with receiver, I mean, they're really like, I don't know how you put your finger on it, but I think everyone understands there is the intangible dog element. Like some guys are just dogs, like NWI, and some guys are not dogs, like, I don't know, Traylon Burks, perhaps, just an example. So he dog, 100%. This guy's he's got the dog in him, and you see it out there on the field. So
Gamer, yeah.
But the reason the positional thing matters is because the role that he presents to a team trying to slot him in is you want him at X or Y. You want him as your flanker. You want him as one of the boundary receivers. You don't necessarily want him in the slot. You can use him in the slot, but his skill set doesn't lend itself to the slot like a Tyler Boyd does or an Amon-Ra St. Brown does. Like he's just not built that way. And so as a boundary receiver, like most of his career, he's fit in as that Y because he's not a true downfield threat because he's not a separator, doesn't have the long speed that like a Calvin Ridley has. You want Ridley at that X position. But as your Y, I think a lot of teams, he leaves a little bit to be desired because your Y's theoretically supposed to be your number 2 option in terms of downfield passing. And I don't know if a lot of teams love the idea of ND. So I'm just trying to explain why he's always seemed like it's like good receiver. We really like him in a vacuum, but where do you slot him in? It's always been kind of awkward.
And I think that's where sometimes you try to pigeonhole guys too much.
Fair.
Right. And like, that's where it's like good football player. Yes or no?
Yeah.
Do something with it. Figure it out. Right. Coach, do it. Like coaches. How many times in the month of August does a football coach in the NFL says, well, you know what? It's not about trying to get the best 53. It's about the right 53. Right. And NWI is a right 53 guy.
100%.
Good football player. And figure out how to use it. Figure out how that good football player can help your team. Is he going to be a star that is being game planned for? No. But he is a guy who can go in and execute anything you ask him to do. He's not going to hurt you. He will help you in spots, but he'll also just not be a problem.
Right.
So,
that's why to put a cherry, and I'll let you go, just to put cherry on top of my opinion, I think talent-wise in a vacuum, just in terms of a 53 guy, he is right now at least, he is talented enough to be your third option and be an average or above average third option. But in most coaches' scheme, he best slots in as your 4, your primary swing outside guy, right? Who you are playing just in limited snaps. He's going to be the rotational guy at X and Y. And the volume is the biggest thing for me, right? Because I was talking to you about it with the whole Buck take yesterday. All those guys he listed, they're like 1s and 2s. They're volume receivers. NWI has been really good this year. He has 15 catches. Like, got to pump the brakes a little bit on. He's never been a volume receiver in his career. And when he's been forced to be, it's not the best. He's best used as a changeup guy. And he's a great changeup. Really, he is. But, you're not going to be targeting NWI 9 times a game or 8 times a game, or really probably not ideally 6 times a game.
Well, they targeted him 6 times against the Vikings.
And I think in an ideal world, you get that guy the ball, 3, 4, maybe 5 times a game in situations that you are very intentional with, and he makes the most of them. So I'm not trying to dump on him at all. Good player. I love NWI. I do.
I think it's because yes, he has 15 catches this season, which sounds crazy.
It feels like more, right? Yeah.
Yeah, because like all of them have come
every
in
catch
the last
is a high
6
leverage
games.
catch. Yeah.
And they've all been a big freaking deal because all but 2 of them have gone for a first down or a touchdown, right? NWI only catches first down.
I think his yards per catch this year is like 17.1.
Exactly.
And one of those is a 99-yard catch, but still, it's really high.
Right, because they're first downs or they're touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
And he had a 3rd catch on Sunday against the Vikings that got called away. That was like for 20-something yards by one of the Isaiah Prince's.
That's right. Penalties. He was the receiver there. Yep.
He was the 3rd of those stupid penalties. So here is my answer, Easton.
Okay.
NWI, and because Greg said starter, And like starter is a good way to label it, but I don't think it's quite how I feel because who cares? Like I made the point of like, I don't care who starts the game. I care about who's impacting the game, right? But
Right.
starter means impact the game, right?
It's a snap count thing, right? I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
What Nick Westbrook-Ikhine is wide receiver 2.5.
Okay. All right.
And why I think he's wide receiver 2.5 is because, yeah, ideally he's the third guy, but like you're talking about the third guy slot, all the schematic stuff, right? But here's where I think NWI has improved enough throughout his career to get the 2.5 label. Because, yes, you would like to be able to have people that are more dynamic than him on your roster, but the versatility that NWI is now showing as a legitimate receiving option and threat to score points, to hurt defenses. You know what else he does? He no longer is a personnel tip. He is no longer a personnel op 15 and NWI and Cody Hollister on the field. Titans are running the ball on 2nd and 10 to Derrick Henry. It's now you can have NWI on the field and do anything.
Right.
He is kind of like the Tony Pollard, Tajay Spears running back. He is a versatile piece. You can run any play in the playbook with 15 on the field. And
that's a big deal. The versatility is a huge deal.
Huge deal.
He's not DeAndre Hopkins in that way, where it's like if Hopkins on the field, well, he's probably not pass blocking. Like,
you know who else he kind of is? He's Jonnu Smith in 2020.
Sure. Deployment wise. Yeah.
Yeah. Because Jonnu Smith is on the field more often than not. You can call any play in the playbook. You can line him up wherever you want. Hell, I think NWI could be the best right tackle on this roster if you ask me to. Give him 4 months. I'm actually not kidding. Give him 4 months.
Come
and
on.
See if
Here's a string bean. Relax.
No, I am joking.
I know you're joking.
But like, if NWI was recruited by a university out of college and that school said, hey, son, we need you to gain 45, 50 pounds so you can play offensive line.
Oh, he needs more than that.
But regardless, I think he could do it.
Okay.
I think he could do it.
Well, with the bar set so low,
I think he could do it. I think he is one of those guys that would say, yeah, I'll do it. And then you hear the story of like, yeah, I got up at 2 a.m. every day and drank a gallon of milk with about 100 grams of protein. And here's how I put on 50
a dozen
pounds.
raw eggs.
Yeah, no, like that is the type of guy that NWI is. Like, I think that in an alternate universe and somebody asked him to do that coming out of high school, he would do it and he would succeed at it.
I think it was Andre in the chat earlier that said NWI is the human embodiment of just keep chopping wood, that's 100%. Yeah.
Yes.
He's a wood chopper, this guy.
So NWI, in my opinion, is wide receiver 2.5. How do you feel about my answer?
I don't think it's crazy.
Definitely not crazy.
No. And you're talking in reference to just like league wide, not on this team, right? The idea is that you go roster by roster, you put him in any situation. He's depending on the team. Some teams he's going to be the 2, like he is with the Titans right now, and some teams he's going to be the 3.
But he's the guy you can go out there and you can play him on 90% of the snaps, run your playbook, whether it's a run or pass, be as physical as you want, spread it out as much as you want. He has a role.
He's like it's kind of like, it's like roster building not politics, but like it's the nuances of roster building and the way that coaches approach their team. Like I don't know how to say this without it sounding derogatory. He's like a teacher's pet, not like in a bad way, but like he's a coach's best friend type of player. You know what I mean?
He's the coach's son, like the good type of coach's son.
32 out of 32 coaches would love to have NWI. They're always looking for an NWI to get on their
glue
roster.
Guy.
He's a glue guy.
Quote Sam from episode 1 of this season of Survivor. He's glue guy.
Yeah.
But in all, like there are 2 types of coaches, kids, right? There's the spoiled one that's just there because his dad's coaching.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the one you can tell this guy's grown up in a gym. He's grown up doing it and he just gets it and he works hard because this is what he does for life. Right. And NWI is that type of coach's kid.
And I think we're all on the same page here. I wish people would be a little bit more nuanced, because as crazy as what Buck said on the radio was, and boy, it was crazy if I haven't made that part clear. You hear other people say crazy things about him. Like I saw a minute ago, Adrian in the chat saying, look at the film. NWI be wide open. No, he don't be.
He was. There was one particular play.
I know the one you're talking about where he was literally uncovered. It was
the one that Levis threw it out of the back of the end zone.
Yeah,
just as a throwaway deep down.
But like out of 112 qualifying receivers, he's dead last in separation score. He's not like there. He's a limited player. He is. He's a good limited player, but he's limited.
Yeah, for sure.
So, but that raises the question. So, what do you pay a guy like that?
And well, Steve brings up he's the employee you don't have to oversee.
That's
exactly.
Right. That's right.
He's trusted, and again, that was Buck's point too. But where Buck's point really unraveled, just to kind of wrap this up, it wasn't about like.
It was damn list.
It was he trusts NWI more than he trusts George Pickens, which I think is a fair comment.
No.
If you use the word trust and you're talking about the person, like who do you trust? Because there are, look, as an employer, there are people that have immense talent that are wild cards that you don't really trust, but they're good. Right. And then there are those people that maybe are the NWI who don't have the immense talent, but do good work, and you do trust them. And sometimes NWI is the better employee than the guy who's talented. And George Pickens is a great version of that. Do you trust him? Or
yes.
Is he going to be trying to do you?
Monday to Saturday, no, but on the field.
But that's a part of it.
When you're at the end of the day, no, it's not.
When you're talking about the word trust, and I think Mike Tomlin has his own issues with this.
No, he's the best at handling it.
No, he's absolutely
best ever.
So, without a doubt, I'm not disagreeing. But like who do you trust more to handle their responsibilities? Like you're not going to get a call at 3 a.m. about NWI.
I understand that. But we're talking about the National Football League. What are we talking about? When you do on the field with the things that George Pickens does, I don't care about what you do.
I'm not saying, again, I understand what I'm saying here. I get what you're saying. Is a better receiver.
I know. But if you take that mentality and build your roster with that mentality, your roster blows.
I'm not saying that.
Then what are we talking about?
I'm literally talking about trust. This is where he got derailed.
I know.
Do you trust the human being? You honestly, you want NWI and George Pickens on the same roster together. Like,
sure.
That's what you want.
But again, what are we talking about? Because that's where that's the dumb take. The idea that I would take NWI over Pickens because I trust him more is dumb. It's dumb.
I did not say I would take NWI over George Pickens.
That's what Buck said.
I know. That's what I'm telling you. It got derailed because he was talking about trust.
I know. And so I'm saying that's where it got dumb because that's a dumb thing to say.
Okay. All right. But you can.
Which we agree on. I get what you're saying, that he took the idea that, yes, clearly, objectively, NWI as a human being is more trustworthy, and then warped it foolishly.
Yeah, we're not talking about the Buck take. Like the Buck let that get out of hand. We understand that.
But you brought up the Buck take.
I know. I'm talking about trust. This is where I'm trying to stay. Let's stay right here. Okay. Let's forget about Buck saying he would take George Pickens after NWI. Forget about that, please.
Okay.
Right here, NWI is a more trustworthy employee than George Pickens. George Pickens is more talented, right? George Pickens is going to get paid 15 times more money than NWI in his career. But NWI is a more trustworthy employee. That's the point.
As a human being, NWI is more trustworthy. As a football player, George Pickens is absolutely more trustworthy.
No, better. He's not more trustworthy. He's
more trustworthy.
No,
third and 20, have to get a first downfield. Just got to throw the ball up to the guy. I trust George Pickens 1,000 times before I trust NWI to come down with the ball. He is more trustworthy on the field, 1,000%.
He's more talented on the field,
which is why I trust him more.
Okay, all right. So we're getting.
I mean, that's just my opinion. I'm like.
But you understand? Like, you understand what I'm saying, and you're not disagreeing with what I'm saying.
No, I just don't.
Changing it.
I'm just wondering what the point is.
The point is that the NWI has value to teams, and that he needs to be kept around. So let's go ahead and get to that, because I said, George Pickens is going to make 15 times more money than NWI in his career, most likely. I don't know. That might be a little inflated. Maybe it's 5 times, 10 times more money than NWI, but a lot more. So what type of contract should the Titans give Nick Westbrook-Ikhine after this season? So I'm going to show the second tier. This is not the high level, not the top tax bracket, as Easton called it in the pre-show call, for wide receivers. This is Cortland Sutton through Josh Reynolds, with conveniently and hilariously Traylon Burks' rookie contract within this. So these are the mid-tier contracts. Easton, you agree with that? I mean, Mike Evans is an outlier because he's.
Yeah, I mean, this is excluding, like, this is probably where do you what's the top one? Is that Cortland Sutton at the top?
Cortland Sutton's at the top. So the left
that's
column,
probably like what, the 20th highest paid receiver?
Yeah, so just to kind of give you more, the left column of dollars is cap hit. The right column is cash. So with Mike Evans, he just got a new contract. So his cap hit's $5.5 million, but he received $23 million of cash this year. Brandon Ayuk, same thing. Just got a new deal. And same, Stephon Diggs, same. Marvin Harrison Jr., rookie deal, obviously. And Nico Collins. So there's guys like that, right? So those are high, but it's like on a cap hit basis, where does NWI need to fit? Where does it? So that with that context, we're going to ask you guys, what type of contract does Nick Westbrook-Ikhine deserve from the Titans after this season? We'll get to that here in a bit, in a second. But first, we'll tell you guys about T-Dot, who is trying to end littering across Tennessee. And we can all jump in to help out and be part of that solution by going to NobodyTrashesTennessee.com. That's NobodyTrashesTennessee.com to end littering across the states. 88 million pieces of litter, $23 million spent every year by T-Dot. That's tax dollars that we're trying to clean up, but we can all do that for free. That's just by stop littering yourself. It's also by picking up litter when you see it and joining the local cleanups to join the volunteer community as well. It's a great opportunity for you to get your kids out there to get some volunteer experience. And T-Dot makes it easy by going to NobodyTrashesTennessee.com. That's NobodyTrashesTennessee.com to sign up for an already organized cleanup near you at NobodyTrashesTennessee.com.
We're also brought to you by BetMGM, the sportsbook born in Vegas. Austin, the Titans continue to get more points given to them by Vegas, climbing up to 8.5-point dogs against the Texans this week. If our listeners are so inclined to want to bet on the Titans or perhaps against the league worst covering team, Tennessee Titans, they can do so over at BetMGM with bonus code ATOZ Sports, so that if you want to take the Titans this week and they let you down again, which they've done almost all year long, you know what? It's insured. MGM's like, don't worry about it. We'll give you your money back. So you can rest assured that first bet is covered, but only if you use our bonus code ATOZ Sports at BetMGM, the sportsbook born in Vegas.
All right. So what type of contract does NWI deserve from the Titans after this season? What type of contract does he deserve? I'll put the second level wide receiver numbers up there. So I guess if you want to go to the chat, I see some numbers from the chat on YouTube and Facebook. By the way, like the show. King VC jumped in here. Had a typo, but that's okay. Lock in, King? Like the show. So Easton, what are you seeing from the chat about what NWI has earned so far this season?
Let's see here. Andre says 3 years, 15 to 20 million. Jason says 3 years, 21 mil. 3 years, 20 from Mario. 3 years, 19. Well, people are, I mean, we're in the same area here. 320 from Jay. 425 from Eric. 321. So we are
in that like 5 to 8 range per year.
Well, 320 would be like, 7.
Between 5 and 8, right?
Yeah. No, I'm agreeing with you.
Yeah, for sure.
So I think that's kind of where we're at here. I'm trying to see if anybody is an outlier. Steve. Okay. So Steve says 2 for 10. Gene says 2 or 3 for 12 to 16. 3 for 15. Some folks are saying on the lower end, but I mean, everybody seems to be thinking, okay, so here's 1 year, 11 mil, which just
that's too much.
That's a lot of money. So we seem to be in that 2 to 3 year range for 5 to 8 million a year is what it looks like.
So NWI is currently 27 years old. He will be 28 in March. So how does that factor in?
I don't think it really does. I mean, like if anything, it's a benefit to him because he is on If you sign him to a 2 or 3 year deal, he's not going to hit that age cliff statistically within that range. He'll be near it. But not
A 3-year deal, his third year he would be 30.
Right. Right. And so that's where you start to get worried about it. But I mean, it's fair to say he also doesn't miss games. He doesn't get injured. Like durability has thus far in his career not been an issue.
No.
So, my answer is kind of in lockstep with the chat. I would lean 2 years instead of 3. I mean, it's a popular take and again, kind of boring, but I think it's accurate. We talk about Juwan Jennings as a common comp for him from a play style standpoint. And the 49ers rewarded him this offseason with a contract that is, to their credit, paying off big time because he's now, I mean, right now he's actually their best receiver on that.
He's the only guy healthy.
I mean, Debo is hurt, but he's out there.
Debo is also in the hospital.
Right. And he's ailing.
Yeah.
But Juwan is, I mean, it's not just like he's their best option because everybody's hurt. He's also just balling.
Good.
He's playing fantastic. He is as good as NWI looks right now. Juwan Jennings looks better. He looks incredible right now.
Shocker. Juwan Jennings, good in the NFL. Who would have thunk it? God.
Got to get that VFL taken there.
For real though.
So Juwan,
when you're right. You're right. You know.
I hear you, man. I hear you. So Juwan's contract was 2 year 15.4, essentially rounding up, which is 7.7 APY. Which is a little bit rich. That's where I would be. I would be like 2 year 15 flat is what I'd want to do for NWI. Maybe because of the way that the cap goes up this offseason, that gets inflated a little bit. I wouldn't be paying $8 million a year. I'd want to be under that 8 number personally. And I think that's absolutely fair compensation for him. If he, and if he came to the table and was like, I really want 3 years of security, cool. We'll make it a 3-year deal and make it 7 flat, you get a little discount that way and give you a bunch of money up front. But I'm in line with what a lot of people in the chat are saying. I think that's fair.
Yeah. Zach Geringer says Jennings is physically talented and trustworthy. Jennings is physical.
Yes.
And he has a drive that makes him talented. He is not fast.
No.
He is not quick.
Mm-mm.
Like, I don't think Juwan Jennings, I know he's not fast. I know he's not quick. I don't think he's like weight room strong. I just think he's like, I give every F's strong.
I'm going to care more than you on every play.
Yes. No, I did. But seriously, like he cares more than everybody else, than the 3 guys trying to tackle him on 3rd and 8. Right. And Juwan Jennings is just a beast. But I think NWI is that, but less pissed off. Like Juwan Jennings is guy. Like Juwan Jennings wakes up angry for football greatness, like pissed off for greatness. That whole was it Ray Lewis that said that?
Right.
And Nick is just a pleasant guy who just goes out there and plays good football.
I saw somebody in the chat ask, what's he making now? Just for reference, NWI 1 year deal. It's a $2 million on the face of it. $2
million flat. That's
his guaranteed salary is $582,000.
I thought it was fully guaranteed.
The base is 1.8 and then
okay, you're right. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
But he's going to get his $2 million,
Yeah, 100%.
So for Nick's contract, I mean, I think 2 years for 15, so 7.5. Yeah, and Greg says he's Drew Bennett. Y'all don't remember Drew Bennett? Do it. Who said? Of course we remember Drew Bennett. Of course, remember Drew Bennett.
Do you agree with the idea that he is Drew Bennett?
He's the best. Drew Bennett, NWI are the best undrafted free agents this Titans franchise has ever drafted.
Agreed. But
now, Drew Bennett had a 1,200-yard, 12 touchdown season.
There we go. Thank you.
He is not quite Drew Bennett.
Not quite at all, actually.
I mean, if he keeps up the pace that he's been on the last 6 games. Right, because he didn't play in the first 4 games, and let
me see what his 17-game pace would be if we just take the most recent games. I'll do the math.
256 divided by 6.
725-yard pace, and that's him balling out like he's never balled before.
And 17 touchdowns.
Yeah, like we like I don't want to yeah, a gajillion touchdowns. That's fair. I don't want to be a hater, but like NWI is never touching 1,000-yard season, and that's okay. He's not Drew Bennett.
Because the last time this organization had two 1,000-yard receivers was 2004, Derek Mason and Drew Bennett.
Okay, put him on the Bills. He's still not touching 1,000 yards.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
Drew Bennett was different. He was special, and he and Billy Volek just had a connection, and it was awesome for a year.
This is not that true. I mean, we're not putting NWI down. We're raising Drew Bennett up because Drew Bennett deserves to be remembered as a stud.
Yes. And maybe Greg just doesn't remember how good Drew Bennett actually was.
Yeah, Greg, do you remember Drew Bennett, bro?
Yeah, no, clearly Greg doesn't, because there is a massive difference between Drew Bennett and Nick Westbrook-Ikhine, but they are both the best UDFAs this Titans team has ever gotten. But hey,
saying, what makes you so sure of that, Houston? Because he's not a volume receiver. We've seen this. He's not a volume receiver.
Yeah, that Drew Bennett. I'm just gonna look up the Drew Bennett. I know it was over.
It's crazy that he had that season.
I know it was over 1,200 yards, and I want to say 12 touchdowns, but I don't remember the amount of catches that he had that year, because it was 2004. Y'all, he had 80 catches for 1,247 yards and 11 touchdowns.
That's a volume receiver right there.
Yeah. But again, like, that was his breakout year, because the 3 seasons before that, he had 24 catches for 300 and a touchdown, 33 for 470, 2 touchdowns, 32 for 500, 4 touchdowns. Then he went 80, 1,200, 11. Then he went 58 and 4 touchdowns with 700 yards, and he had back-to-back 700-yard seasons after the 1,200. But that was also when the Titans completely bottomed out after that 2004 season, and it got pretty rough overall. So,
I mean, people in the chat are saying the 1,000-yard thing is only because he's on the Titans and their situation. No, I'm saying put him on all 32 teams. He's not touching 1,000-yard season. He's not.
This is kind of crazy. That was exactly 20 seasons ago. That was 20 years ago. Like 2004 Drew Bennett's 2024 NWI UDFA just balling out.
I remember my 4th year of life vividly. What a great year.
Oh, dude. So you don't remember the epic Monday Night Football game versus the Chiefs and the Titans in Nashville, when Larry Johnson had like 200 and something yards rushing for the Chiefs, and Drew Bennett and Billy Volek went crazy. You have
not
no
live.
Nope.
Nope.
What a freaking
Of course not.
night.
I was 4 years old.
What a freaking night.
I hear it was awesome.
It was insane. I mean, Titans lost.
I'm told good things.
Larry Johnson from
Oh, you're asking me. Oh,
yes.
I have no idea. No, I thought you were. I didn't know it was a question. I have no idea.
Penn State, which leads us into our college football.
Oh, it's a transition. I'm sorry.
There you go. All right. Penn State is
like, what is that? I thought quizz's time is later.
The 4th team in the country. Here's what we want. I want your best, biggest college football playoff ranking take. Okay. What is your biggest college football playoff ranking take? We want that in the chat. I know IR host is like, I don't care about college football. I'm leaving after that. Fine, bye. But what is your biggest college football playoff take? We do have trivia coming up here after we have a little college football playoff conversation here too. But first, I want to tell everybody about our friends at Farm Bureau Health Plans, fbhp.com/ATOZ. That's where you should turn. If you're looking for a better health coverage for a better rate, you want to save some money and not have to pay out of pocket and go to the dentist twice a year, Farm Bureau Health Plans. Do that. And use our link, fbhp.com/ATOZ. Great customer service, along with great plans and a great community and easy to work with. 200 locations across Tennessee. They've served our state for 78 years, and they can help you just like they have with A to Z Sports, they have with Zach, they have other employees that we've had. So check them out online, fbhp.com/ATOZ.
We're also brought to you by BetMGM, the sports book born in Vegas. Sign up today using our bonus code ATOZ Sports. They'll give you up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if your first bet does not hit. That's BetMGM. Get that app. Sign up using our bonus code ATOZ Sports, the sports book born in Vegas.
All right, so Easton, what is your biggest, and we're asking everybody, what is your biggest college football playoff take after the new rankings come out again last night that sees Oregon, Ohio State remaining at the top 1 and 2, Penn State is number 4 behind Texas at number 3, and then Indiana is currently at 5 leading into this game against Ohio State on Saturday, and then you get into Notre Dame at number 6. And then you get the log jam of SEC teams with Miami right there in the middle of Alabama, Miami, Ole Miss, Georgia, Tennessee. But the Vols left out of the playoff because of the conference champion rule, with number 12 Boise State getting a bye with a 4 seed. And 14th team BYU is the 12th seed because SMU is not in because the ACC only deserves 1 spot, and Tennessee is the first team left out. Yes, the ACC only deserves 1 spot.
No, I'm saying, do they even deserve 1 spot?
Oh, by the rules, yes. By the rules, they do.
I know, but I'm just foreshadowing my take. Is that the rules
we're asking,
suck.
what is your biggest college football
There's
playoff
my take, is that the rules suck. I think
the rules
dumb.
are dumb. Okay.
Yeah, I think that no, genuine. I mean, that's literally my take, is that and how mad I know what your take is. What if I had just like straight face just stolen your take immediately? It was very tempting to do so. I don't like, I get why they did it the way that they did with the conference champion thing, and they're, as the fortitude of the conferences were actively crumbling around the NCAA and the college football landscape, that we're clearly on a collision course for 2 mega conferences, or maybe no conferences eventually. Like, everyone understands this, we're going. They're trying to like steel man the importance and the sanctity of the conferences by giving conferences buys and automatic bids. And like, I get why they did it, and it's still dumb. It's like, who cares? Give me the 12 best teams. Why is BYU getting in over a Tennessee team when they would get curb stomped by Tennessee? Why is Boise State getting a bye as the 12th seed in the AP ranking or whatever they are? It creates for something that you explained to me for the first time yesterday. The way that the 5 seed is probably the best position besides the 1 seed.
Yes, and
because right now, put it up there. Put up the thing.
Oh, I've been on this 5 seed thing for a month and a half.
Right. And I've heard this a million times from folks, and I understood it for the first time yesterday. Like, it allows for Ohio State as the 5 seed,
the second best team in the country,
right, to play BYU and then Boise State, and then their playoffs really begin in the semifinals because they get to kill 2 bad teams. Not bad, but like 2 inferior teams.
2 lesser teams.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Alabama is having to play Notre Dame and Oregon, and Penn State's having to play Georgia and Miami. Like, Ohio State's getting BYU and Boise State. What are we talking about? It's dumb. The rules are dumb.
So we agree with that 100%. So what is your biggest college football playoff take? Let's see. Strength of schedule means nothing is what Bork says, when it should mean something. Demetrius says Tennessee is and will get screwed out of the college football playoff. The system is a mess. And I have a good buddy that sent me a text the other week and said his wife's uncle asked him in the summer, how do you think Tennessee's going to do in football this year? And his exact answer was, they're going to be like the 12th ranked team in the country, but get screwed out of the playoffs. It's like in June, just nailed it. Just nailed it. Mr. Jones, Michigan's AD is in active cheating scandal, but still heading the playoff committee, and 4 of the top 5 teams are Big Ten. That is a well-deserved take. Because
why is anybody affiliated with the school or a conference heading the committee? Like, how is that not a bipartisan?
That's how it's always been. There has always been like a current sitting athletic director that is the committee chairman, that is the mouthpiece. Like,
that's the craziest thing I've ever heard.
Lou Corrigan was like the Arkansas AD, was doing it for a while, and for whatever reason, Ward Manuel. Here's not my biggest take. This is just a side take. Okay. If I were one of those 13 people or one of the other 12 people not named Ward Manuel, I'd be so damn pissed off at Ward Manuel every week for speaking for us as a group and sounding like a complete idiot. Like, he says dumb things every time he's asked a question to justify a reason. Like, I don't know if you watched last night, Reese Davis asked a great question. How does the committee weigh things like watching the film and watching football and like the film, not
No
like
ball.
TV copy,
Yeah.
knowing ball versus strength of schedule versus analytical metrics? Like, that's a good question. Like, how do you weigh those things?
Mhm.
Great question.
What do you say? What do you say?
Well, watching the games is really important. And then he filibusters for about 20 seconds. He says, but Reese, we really focus on watching the games. Like he didn't answer it. Didn't answer it at all. And then why does Alabama get the top ranking of that group of 2-loss SEC teams? Well, it's how they've played, and they were able to beat LSU, they were able to beat Missouri, and what they did against Mercer last weekend. Mercer,
Good win, quality win.
And speaking of big wins, why did Indiana and BYU jump Tennessee? One lost Tennessee, and when nothing changed. Oh, big wins over Michigan, where he's the athletic director, and a big win for BYU over Utah, who's 5-5. And
if you beat my team, you must be the best team in the sport.
Ward Manuel is a terrible, terrible representative for everybody else in that room. It's so like I don't know if that's his punishment for Michigan being in a cheating scandal. It's here, you go answer the questions, you big dummy. I don't know, but it's miserable. He is terrible at that job. Terrible.
Okay, so that was the side take. What's your
That was my side take. My biggest take is the conferences have gotten too big.
Oh, too big. Already, because they're going to get bigger.
Yeah, I know. They're too big.
Okay.
The conferences are too big for the 12-team playoff.
And by the conferences, you mean Big Ten and SEC.
The Big Ten. It really, I am sold on 18 teams in a conference is too many because the schedule is never going to be balanced. The schedule is never going to work.
Okay.
Because when you look at the rankings and somebody says, oh, look at 4 Big Ten teams in the top 5, because they don't play each other except for Ohio State.
Right.
Indiana, after the regular season is over, they have Ohio State and then Purdue. Indiana will play Ohio State, maybe the second best team in the Big Ten. Then they will play Washington, who is the 7th best team in the Big Ten. And then they will play 7 of the 8 worst teams in the 18-team Big Ten.
Just trash cans.
Yeah, it's not Indiana's fault. It's not. They did not come up with the schedule. The schedule is an algorithm. It rotates, right? Like 18 teams is too many. And
what's their non-conference schedule though? Because that's their fault, right? I mean,
that is their fault.
That part's their fault.
But honestly,
I don't blame the worst teams possible.
Honestly,
I do.
It's Indiana. It's Indiana. They shouldn't. Like, Indiana's not a prestige of a team.
Okay.
To play somebody legitimate.
From now on, can't schedule.
Yeah, moving forward, sure.
Yeah, got to get.
And now Jeff says, "What about Texas, Austin?" Matt says, "What about Texas?" No, you guys are right. And I was about to go to Texas. I was about to do that because I know for a damn fact that 18 teams is too many in the conference to schedule it correctly. I'm pretty close to saying 16 is too big too, because Texas is skating right through as well. Because and here's the other absolute joke of the playoff rankings, when Texas is ranked number 3 and their quote key wins on the graphic on the show last night are at Vanderbilt and at Arkansas, where they beat Vanderbilt by 3 points and Arkansas by 10. Yet Arkansas is a bad loss for Tennessee, but a key win for Texas is absolute BS.
Yeah.
Because Texas has not played anybody worth value, because Michigan sucks, Ward Manuel, and you prop them up over that win too. And so for Texas, they didn't play Alabama or Ole Miss. They didn't play Georgia and get waxed at home. They didn't play Tennessee. They're about to play Texas A&M. They didn't play South Carolina. They didn't play Missouri. They played Georgia, and they're about to play A&M. 2 teams of value in the SEC. And they played Florida on their 3rd string quarterback. So Texas has not played anybody. 18 teams is too many. I think 16 is too many to schedule evenly and balanced to where you actually find out who is the best because they need to play each other.
Right.
Because every year you're going to have an Indiana and you're going to have a Texas just because of how the schedule algorithm worked out that year. And guess what? It's not going to be Tennessee. It's not going to be Alabama. It's not going to be Georgia because those three teams are going to play each other every year. It's also not going to be Ohio State because they're going to play good teams every year in the Big Ten because of how the schedule is going to work out. So it's going to be these Texas, Indiana. Like I could see like A&M having this. I could see like Missouri getting a schedule break one year. They didn't this year, but I could see it happening one year. And Missouri is a team that gets an Indiana or Texas like schedule. It's too many teams. You can't actually balance a schedule out with this many teams. You can't do it.
Yeah. Like what would I wonder what Texas's season would look like if they played Vandy's schedule. You know?
Not good. Not what they are.
It would be, they wouldn't be number 3 or whatever they are.
And look, I do understand like Texas scheduled the defending national champs. They should not get punished for Michigan sucking. Just like Tennessee should not get punished for NC State sucking. Now, NC State and Michigan are different. But
right.
When you schedule that game so far.
You're trying to schedule a ranked opponent there. Yeah.
And they did. And both teams did.
Right. Yeah.
And those teams
it creates situations you're right. And to your point, it creates situations where like I saw people talking online about how like people want to hear it and it probably won't happen. But if Texas loses to A&M in 2 weeks, they shouldn't be in.
It's agree.
Right. But at the same time, I'm like, they're definitely a good enough team to be in. It's just their schedule dictates on paper they don't deserve to be in if they lose.
Because Tennessee, if Texas loses to Texas A&M, I think Tennessee has a better resume than Texas.
Right. But don't you agree? Don't you agree that in an ideal world, their schedule would be solid enough to where they could lose their one game of the year to A&M and us still be like, oh, well, it happens. Everybody gets one game. They should still definitely be in it because they're definitely they're still a top 12 talented team. They should be in the playoff. They
are top 12 team in the country.
Yes.
But they don't have a resume to get them in. And it's really not the top 12. You're talking about you have to be a top 10 team in the country to make in the SEC. You have to be a top 10 team.
Right. But they're that too. I think. I
don't know.
You think there are 10 rosters better than this roster? I don't think so.
I'm not talking about roster. I'm talking about like the product. Like, because
that's Florida, what, yeah. No, I mean,
because Florida's a top 25 roster.
Well,
no, seriously. If you want to get into
that like stars and everything.
Right, that's what I'm talking about. That's what you brought up, right? Roster.
What I meant was the guys, the level of football the players are playing.
The product, like the results. The results are is Texas a top 10 team? Maybe, because right now the number 10 team in the country is Georgia, who whipped their freaking ass on their own home turf.
Okay, but by your own accord, what you tweeted last night, like Texas is clearly a better team than Indiana. And like, go pull that list up again. How many teams, like they're better than Penn State. They're better than Indiana. They're better than Notre Dame. They are a top 10 team. You're right. Yeah, they may not be better than Georgia. They may not be better than Tennessee, but they are better than those teams.
Yes, I agree.
So I think they're clearly a top 10 team. But because of the way the schedule works, there's this one game that kind of makes or breaks their resume. So it's like,
have I actually watched the Texas game, Austin? Yes, I have. I watched the Texas-Arkansas game this past Saturday. I watched the Texas-Michigan game 2 months ago. I watched the Texas-Georgia game in its entirety. I watched the majority of Texas and Vandy. That's what, 4 like full games. And then probably bits and pieces of the others. And I'm not watching
half the season. You don't know.
I'm not watching Texas versus Mississippi State.
I know.
I'm not watching Texas versus Texas School of the Blind.
I
watched Texas School. Okay, I watched half of their SEC games and their big non-conference game. That's what matters.
This right here is my favorite stupid argument when it comes to college. Because like for me, it's I only get this about prospects. Like with Cam Ward, I was tweeting about him and I was like, this guy scares me to death. And some Miami super fans in my comments like, you haven't even watched Miami game all year. I'm like, I've probably watched in its entirety 3 of their games. And they're like, oh, so less than half the season? I'm like, well, In college, there are 17 million games. Like, am I supposed to watch every game live on my television on Saturday? What are we talking about?
Yeah,
I'm not watching. Right. I'll watch all his tape at the end of the year, but I'm not watching Miami versus Dayton. Sorry, I'm not sitting down and doing that.
Yeah, and like Denise says, college is just complicated. No, nailed it. And like that's also great. And Zach Reagan,
It's a beautiful mess of a sport.
Zach Reagan had a text with us last night in our Vols content group. There is no right take, because on the internet, after these ranking shows comes out, you're going to have people all over the place making justifiable arguments for a million different teams, and none of them can be proven inaccurate.
Unless we were able to play all the games, which we're not able
but you
to.
Can't. So it's like nothing can be proven false. It's just all subjective.
It's a beautiful
which
mess.
is why it is the most beautiful, chaotic sport we have in America, because the NFL is decided by math.
It's so much cleaner.
But it's not this.
It's not chaos. No.
It's not chaos. Because, and I said this to somebody in a meeting yesterday, about half of my like personal non-work conversations circle back to college football playoff conversations.
Yeah, I believe you. I mean,
including every other conversation with my wife comes back to the college football playoff.
Your poor wife.
She loves it too.
Oh, does she? Okay. My wife would kill me.
It's incredible. It's incredible because nothing makes sense. And everybody has good points. They contradict each other.
Yeah. All right. Can we do trivia real quick?
Bork says, it's so complicated. Just have a computer figure it out. Oh, wait. Okay, now we can do trivia.
Okay.
Let's do some trivia. Let's see how Easton and I do on this thing. Here we go. Shout out to Wilson County Hyundai. Make them a part of your new car buying process. Go see them in Lebanon or online. WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Easton, are you ready for trivia?
I am.
Let's do it. Okay, good transition. That's a good start.
Get this ad off my screen.
Damn it, why is Major League Baseball in here?
Always in LV.
We are 8 days away from Thanksgiving, and Major League Baseball is just still in our lives. And there's no college football conversation.
Now we have to deal with baseball and hockey, which could be
I know.
Could be tricky. Chat.
So what should we do? Should we start with the NFL and go to history and circle all the way around to the hard ones, or should we go NFL and sports?
Yes. We should work our way this way right here.
All right, so we're going to go NFL, history, television, movies, music, chain restaurants, up to the NHL.
Lock in, chat. We need your help.
All right, let's do it. Yep, here we go.
Since 2010, which team has won the least total regular season games in the NFL from the AFC?
Got to be the Browns, right?
Yes, but I'm not sure. Is it Browns or is it Jags? Jags are also in there.
Jags made the... It's got to be the Browns.
I kind of think it's the Jags.
Steve says Panthers. AFC, guys.
AFC, big dog. AFC.
I think it's the Browns.
All right.
No.
It's definitely the Jags. Olympic gold medalist and two-time NBA champ with the Knicks. This man was a New Jersey Senator from 79 to 97.
What?
Brother, New Jersey Senator? What are we talking about?
Olympic gold medalist?
We're talking about 1979 and expecting me to know. What are we talking about right now?
Crap.
Bill Bradley.
Bill Bradley?
Cool. Never heard of this guy in my life. Bill Bradley. Television. From 04 to 07, this Nickelodeon cartoon followed a teenager who protects his town from ghost attacks after an accident led him to becoming half human. This is Danny Phantom.
Okay. I trust you on that one.
Taron Egerton was the best actor Golden Globe for his portrayal of Elton John, and this is Rocket Man.
There you go.
Legendary Canadian rock band was known for their classic power trio of Neil Peart on drums, Gaddy Lee on vocals, and Alex Lifeson on guitar. Canadian rock band.
God, this is not my
classic
day.
Power trio. I mean, like the only Canadian rock band I know is look at this graph.
Photograph, not graph. Rush.
But it's a Vine. You wouldn't get
Rush.
it. Rush. Okay. Just Rush? Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Chain restaurants with its breakfast menu already featuring the Honey Buddy chicken biscuit and maple bacon chicken croissant. This fast food chain added the Cinnabon pull apart in 2024. Gut
We
bomb.
should just blow it up. Yeah.
We should blow this one up, actually.
Yeah, this should be blown up.
It's a chicken.
Wendy's?
No.
No. Burger King? This
People are saying Wendy's. Whataburger has
Whataburger.
breakfast?
Wendy's.
I didn't know they had breakfast at Wendy's, honestly. All right, from 96 to 98, this Flyers left winger is considered the first American-born player to score 50-plus goals. Brother, I have no idea.
I'm getting
90s hockey. You couldn't get more out of my wheelhouse with 90s hockey. This is a miserable trivia.
Philadelphia Flyers. If my brother-in-law was watching, we'd nail it. Lindros? Eric Lindros?
My spelling was for Eric
Lindros.
Nope. All-star third baseman Matt Williams won Manager of the Year in his first season with the National League team in 2014, but was fired the next year. I feel like this is Royals. Maybe not.
Matt Williams. I'm with Jeff. What difficulty mode did you click on?
I think I clicked impossible on this week's.
This is like the Heisman level.
I'm gonna ask Sam later these questions and see if you would have been able to get any of
All-star
Nationals.
third base. I have Nationals. Yeah, Nationals. That's definitely Nationals.
Okay.
All right.
Celeb mashup. Whoo, that is the middle is Veep lady, and I don't know her name. Or no, lady from Seinfeld.
Yeah,
lady.
which is also the same person.
Okay, yeah, I thought so. But what's her
Dreyfus.
name? Yeah. Jessica Louis Dreyfus?
No.
What's her first name?
I don't know, but that definitely is Ben Stiller. Julia.
It was a J. Yeah, and then Ben Stiller.
It's an old Ben Stiller.
Wait, yeah, are we sure actually? Is his hair that gray?
That's got to be. I mean, it's absolutely Ben
Like
Stiller.
it. All right, let's this is
I mean, this could be the you think it's the Jags.
I'm pretty sure it's the Jags, man.
He also said Jets.
Season, bro. They've had so many first overall picks. I think it's the Jags.
Jaguars.
You took your shot, I'm gonna take mine. Okay. We got
Is
it.
that right? No,
Yeah.
you got.
Oh, is purple wrong?
Yeah, you got it wrong.
Wow. What is it? Now I gotta look it up.
No, can you just click on it?
Oh, can you? Share.
Not share. Don't share those results.
Look at the accuracy of this.
View correct
day.
answers.
People, look at how bad people have done.
Damn, this is crazy.
Terrible day. Wait, what? The answer is Jaguars. Oh, my answer was correct.
Oh, so you did get it right. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. What was this? John LeClaire. Ah, yes, of course. John LeClaire.
Yeah, screw that.
What a nightmare day of trivia. I mean, look, this is all it is right here.
That does not. We don't get
almost 14,000 people have played. 54 have gotten all 9.
54 total.
54 out of 14,000.
That's not a percentage. That's not a percentage.
I mean, look, 14,000 completed, 54 perfects.
That's insane. This is the hardest one it's ever been.
You would know better than me because you've done a lot more of them.
This has got to be the hardest one we've ever done.
Jeez Louise. Well, I don't even feel bad about that one, to be honest with you, because what are you going to do?
What are you going to do? No, that was just miserable.
And then Mike in the chat says, and those 54 guys Googled some things. Yeah, I'm with you, Mike. I don't think 54 folks knew all of those by themselves.
Yeah, and I doubt that they also probably didn't have an audience of a couple hundred else helping.
That's true. I think by myself I would have gotten 4 of those. At least 3. I know I got at least 3, and I think I would have been able to guess the 4th. It's become a game Sam, for Sam and I. On Wednesdays, I've started going to the facility. Well, he's not there today. I'll call him and going through them to see how he would do. The past couple weeks we've done this. What's the over/under on how many he gets?
I mean, I think even with Sam, we would have failed.
He would have known the baseball one.
But none of us nobody knew the freaking hockey one.
Right, I know. I'm trying to figure out what he would have gotten that we didn't.
And I think he would have. I think there's a likeliness he would have also not gone Jags first.
Right. It was a coin flip on that one, I think.
Yeah.
And the Fed says Easton needs soccer and tennis trivia. No, I do not. When it comes to sports, my trivia knowledge really is football, and then it's tough after that. Like I'm a good trivia player, but not when it comes to sports.
That was tough.
Greg
man.
says I've had better days. Okay. If I'm having a bad day today, I feel pretty. I mean, like this is pretty good bad day. I'm having a good day.
Put that on a t-shirt.
That's right.
All right. That's it for us here on the show. New episode Survivor is coming up tonight.
Oh yeah.
We'll find out. Again, I've got that December 4th date circled, which there's two more episodes.
2 weeks from now.
2 more episodes before that point.
Mm-hmm.
That's my D-Day for Sam, I think. December 4th. Does he get to December 4th? And if he does, ooh.
We found out yesterday that apparently the finale is going to be a 2-week double 2-hour episode. The finale is going to be
which I knew that. Like I knew that. Yes.
It's split into 2-hour episodes.
Yeah, that was known.
Oh, I found out for the first time yesterday. I was like, holy crap, dude, that's a lot. 4 hours for the last, because what is the finale? The final 4 people? Final 3? Oh, final 5. Oh, okay. I thought it was like the final 3 people for 4 hours. I was like,
no, it's basically the same.
But did they get eliminated in the finale? A couple of them? Like, don't you get down to 3 for the final vote?
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't know how they'll split, if they'll go 5 down to 4, and then the finale will start with 4 and then go down to 3 and then finish.
That would make sense. That sounds about right.
Yeah, so the final show is December 18th.
Andre says, who 4 hours of Survivor? Us, buddy. Us now.
It's spread out over 2 weeks.
Yeah. You know, it's not shade day, but I have a tiny shade.
Okay.
There's this trend in reality TV shows, and I don't watch a lot of reality TV, but I've seen it twice in the limited reality TV I've seen in the last 2 weeks. There's this trend with like these shows where like it's the typical format of each week challenge, eliminate, challenge, eliminate.
Mm-hmm.
Every week somebody goes home. There's this new trend where the producers just decide the person going home this week is nobody, and everybody gets to move on. Last night, Dancing with the Stars, the semifinals, the episode before the finale, you're supposed to whittle it down to 4, and they're like, you're all moving on. I'm like, what are we talking about? You're all moving on to the finale. So now we got half the field in the finale, and it's 1,000% because it's become such a social media thing. The team that was at the bottom, you know, Steven Nedorozic, the pommel horse guy.
Nope.
From the Olympics. You didn't.
Nope.
You didn't ever catch wind of the pommel horse guy? Chat, you know who I'm talking about. Steven
I
Nedorozic.
mean, I did watch Men's Olympians.
He became a viral thing. Steven Nedorozic is the pommel horse guy, hero for the Team USA in the gymnastics. He's on Dancing with the Stars. He's been by far not close the number one like biggest draw on social media in the culture. It's like, oh my gosh, he's killing it. We love him all over this show. He was at the bottom last night, and we're like, he's going home. And the producers 1,000% said, we need these numbers in the finale. We can't send this guy home.
Totally.
Get him in. And that's baloney. Baloney. Hate it.
It's the reason why the college football playoffs, like, you know what? We need Alabama.
Participation award, says Andre. 100%. I'm not about it. Send people home. It's a competition show. When you lose, you go home.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, all right. Long show. Good show today.
Yeah, long show for sure. Make sure you like it. Hit that like button for us, please. Like the show before you go. Subscribe to it. Easton will be at the Titans facility here coming up in a couple hours, and we'll find out more of how they're going to approach the second AFC South game of the year, approaching the end of November, which is wild. But we'll catch you guys on a Thursday. Appreciate it as always. We'll find out if Sam survives tonight or not. Thanks.